coming up on today's episode.
And a lot of the time we do the pre-approval at the max and based on your borrowing capacity, but also your savings. But a lot of the time people don't want to spend their max. So it's understanding as well how much you actually want to spend. So you may be pre-approved for say 1.1, but you're only comfortable at spending 900,000. You've still got to pay the mortgage and all the expenses. And yeah, you can afford it, but can you still live how you want to live?
Dodgy advice and bad decisions can cost you big in real estate. We're here to make sure that doesn't happen. Welcome to the No BS Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jo Agresta, and it's time to take control of your property journey together.
Hey, I'm Ashley Fisher from Hello Funding. I'm a mortgage broker, and today I'm here with the No BS Podcast. We're here to talk about all things finance, first home buyers, and getting your pre-approval. Let's get into it.
Welcome back, everyone, to the No BS Real Estate Podcast, your listening how-to guide to the Aussie finance and real estate market. I'm your host, Jo Agresta. Now, on today's episode, we're talking about something a lot of buyers underestimate: what actually happens after pre-approval. I guess because while getting the green light on finance can feel like the hardest part is done, for many buyers that's actually when the real pressure starts. That the search becomes emotional, competition kicks in, and people can start second-guessing themselves or feel rushed into properties that they don't even really love. So, to help us unpack that, I'm joined by Ashley Fisher from Hello Funding. Ashley has seen the property process from multiple angles, starting in banking, moving into broking, and more recently going through her own buying journey herself. So together, we're going to unpack what buyers in New South Wales are facing right now, what Ashley learned moving from bank to broker, how her now buying experience has changed the way she sees buyers, what happens after pre-approval that people don't talk about enough, and how buyers can avoid making stress-driven decisions just because they feel the clock is ticking. So without further ado, Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
Hello. I'm actually so excited. We're sitting here in Seathforth, Sydney, which I've learned that I picked the furthest possible location for all our guests today, but It's all right, I think. And, I think one of the things, Ashley, I'm glad to have you here because when we first connected, what stood out to me in particular was your own buying story and your mix of experience. And, you've seen the transaction from the bank side, then you've seen it from the broking side, and more recently you lived through it. And I think that's a really big one that a lot of people discount. So, and on top of that, you're one of the first guests I've had on the show from New South Wales to really speak to what buyers are dealing with on the ground here. So a lot of our guests are from different parts of the state, or the country, but we're on the ground in New South Wales. We're going to hear it from your words. So I guess the best place to start is from the market, Ashley. From where you sit, what are you seeing from buyers in New South Wales right now, and what's the general mood like?
And so where I'm seeing, I'm based out in Western Sydney, and really at the moment there's still lots of buyers, especially first home buyers, but it is very competitive and, they're all getting kind of capped out, or really there's lots of people showing up to open homes and they're all kind of bidding against each other, and it's very, competitive and it's challenging. Yeah.
It's so hard. When you went through your own experience, did you have that same battle?
Yeah. And I didn't realize how annoying it was until we were doing it. And I'm like, how can I get here when no one else is going to be here? So how can I get in front of all the agents before anyone else will find properties first, which is hard because there's 20 other couples in the same boat trying to buy as well. So yeah, it was very overwhelming and a good wake up call, I think, of how competitive it actually is, especially in that first home buyer mark, kind of trying to buy their first home. Yeah.
First home buyers, I think, are doing it tough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competition, and then not a lot of, if they're not a lot of them are using advocates, I'd imagine, like a buyer's agent in their corner. So they're winging it and it makes it hard.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And I think, from who are you seeing that's most active at the moment, and what are they struggling with? I think you mentioned, first home buyers are having the challenges with being out competed, on bidding. But are you seeing a lot of investors equally trying to buy in as well?
I would say yes. There's still a lot of investors, especially investors wanting to buy these family homes and add a granny flat, for example, at the back, which
Mm.
look, great investment as well, but then it also makes it challenging as well for the first home buyers. So I would say there's still, when I was looking, there was a lot of first home buyers, but there still was a few of those investors because it is such a good market and trying to just build on that growth as well. But yeah, a lot of definitely first home buyers still in the market, especially around like people buying in that 1 mil mark, where
Oh,
I've seen I'm from Penrith, and that's where, yeah, that 1 mil mark is challenging.
yeah, it
Yeah.
would be because that's where so much that's like the average.
Everyone, yeah, yeah.
Far out. C
And I think that price range is the most realistic for first home buyers, but then everyone's kind of in the same boat. So they're either going way over or they're going the minute, like they go online and then the minute they're sold.
Yeah, it's like they're just
It's
buying it for the
crazy.
sake of it
Pretty
almost.
much, yeah.
And it's like you'd be seeing transactions that probably are wrong in a lot of ways for them.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, shit. Okay." Why? But it's like they just need to get in.
Yeah,
They've had
yeah,
enough. I don't blame them either. Like, it's a tough market when you're trying to get something that's hot. Straight away, it's gone on market within, like, the first 2 hours.
yeah.
You're contacting the agent saying, "Yep, I want it." I haven't seen it, but I
Pretty
want it.
much, yeah. Can I come now? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And, I think this is probably the perfect time to bring up our no BS statement. So for those that are new around here, we have a little statement at the start of our show that we say that's a bit spicy, and we are going to have Ashley, by the end of the episode, determine whether it's bullshit or not bullshit. So today's statement is, once you're pre-approved, you're basically ready to buy. Now, we won't answer it yet, but we're going to come back and we're going to ask you again what your opinion is. Taking me back a step, Ashley, like obviously bank to broker, I need to ask about your journey and how you kind of got into this space. So, you started on the bank side, which means you were seeing that internal, very high compliance policy, had the ins and outs of how it all works.
Yeah.
Take us back to the beginning. What was your role banking, and then what did that world teach you about, how to do finance differently by going out and being a broker yourself?
Yeah, so I started, I guess my whole time in the bank, I was in third party banking. So essentially home loans that brokers are submitting, we're working on essentially. So for a few years, most of my time I was in credit. So that means I'm the one really approving or declining the application with that's sent in from the broker. And then I moved into a role which was like broker support. So I was helping brokers with policy questions, how to do income, how does the bank take this pay slip or this client, and kind of help them structure it. And I guess when I was in the bank, I didn't really understand the full kind of depth of like someone's buying this house. It was just a deal that I'd either like check the policy and approve it or decline it and then on to the next. And
Yeah,
then
so
and it was just like you didn't really understand it. So then I was speaking with brokers all the time, and back then, like I was only in my early 20s, and I was like, mainly really just men that were brokers that I'd ever speak to and 20 years older than me. And I was like, well, they can all do it, so why can't I? And I'm like, and so, yeah, I got a job in a broker firm and learned a lot. And then I realized how much really goes into buying a house and the process and settlements, and because like I didn't deal with settlements, and how
mm,
much can go wrong at the settlement time, and the little things, and how much really the deadlines are important. Like you need to hit your cooling off, you need to get your finance, you've got your settlement date. Like, so I really learned that it's a big process to buy a house. So, and I think, yeah, I learned a lot when I kind of moved into the broker world, really. Yeah.
it would have been interesting because, like you said, it's the interesting mentality. When you're at the bank, you don't get to see all the emotion, the buyer, like
Yeah,
why they're buying, and they're holding so much hope in that pre-approval. But then from the bank's end, it's very transactional. It's, well, approval denied either meets or doesn't,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
bang, bang. But then you kind of got to know from like the brokers, like working in that space where brokers are probably calling you going, "Oh, why did it get denied? What can I do?
Yeah.
How do I fix it?"
Yeah.
Did you cop a lot of that?
Yes, definitely. And it kind of makes it hard because you're just like, well, that's the policy. And like,
You
I,
can't do
I
anything.
can't do anything about it. When now I'm like, I know that sometimes, you can push policies and you can push back to the assessor and things like that. So now I'm a broker. I'm like, well, actually, no. this is how you should be doing it, or actually maybe go ask this person and we can get it done. And a lot of time, like, we have to push back and it can get approved because, like, especially if they're not experienced, they're just reading the policy. But a lot of the time, sometimes you can kind of push the policy or try and get an approval up front. So I'm kind of grateful I had the experience so I can kind of like push back and have the confidence and be like, I understand you're doing your job, but speak to this person, and, see if we can push it. And a lot of time, yes, or it's a no, and you go on to the next bank, and that's fine. But yeah, sometimes us brokers, we just kind of got to push it and get
I,
it done for the client.
I love that you're kind of like a secret weapon for your
Yeah.
clients because you've got a perspective, like you've worked there, so you know exactly like the title of who they have to speak to push it.
Yeah.
You go, nah, you know who you could talk to. Go find this person, and if it's the bank that you used to work for, even better. You can
I'm like, actually, if you go on page 3 and scroll down a little bit, the policy's here, and I'm right. So
and I'm right, so go and do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It is good, yeah. And I didn't realize how much a broker actually does and you really are advocating for your client and doing everything you can to just push it. And which I think people don't realize. It's like the bank says no, and it's kind of just thinking that it's us saying no. I'm like, I've tried everything. I've kind of spoken as politely, but not politely as I could to get it done. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
And it's like you're an advocate, and I always say that the mortgage brokers end up being the property psychologists.
Yeah.
Because what happens is a lot of these home buyers, they don't engage like a buyer's advocate, right? A lot of the time, would you say that's pretty true?
Yeah, it's especially first home buyers, rarely, because they kind of need to use all their money for the deposit, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so because they're not doing that, what ends up happening is you as the broker become the pseudo buyer's agent.
Yeah.
The one that does the property reports, the one that tells them how to negotiate. It's almost like you can't help it. It's part of the service model now, I feel, for a lot of brokers by default, that you're these property psychologists that are out there reassuring your clients going, that's okay. Yeah, here's a report and go to the auction and here's how I would do it.
And say this and write this in your offer. And I was helping a client on the weekend on Saturday, and he's like, oh, I just got my offer accepted, but like, what do I do now? I'm like, write this and sign this, send this money, and on Monday we'll speak to this solicitor. Like, it's just really like you're just guiding them every way, which like I love to do because it's like I'm there to help them, and like I love my job. But yeah, you're really kind of giving them advice on everything, and even like I'm like, the solicitor will do this, and then for the next 10 days, this is what happens, and kind of really just explaining everything. And you need to go get insurance as well, like all the little things that no one really teaches you, like set up your electricity and your water and all that type of stuff.
It's just it's like you're doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, brokers are superheroes in a lot of ways. And, I guess you've talked about what kind of made you leave the bank in the end and go into the broking world. And I guess what was what opened you up for, once you made that shift into broking, like what kind of opened your eyes? Was it more about seeing the buyer's emotions because that's what you weren't tracking before?
Yeah, and also understanding that, because I knew a policy for one lender so well that every bank lender is different. Like, their policies are different. Like, one, they will verify income this way, and then the next bank, they won't even look at it. So it's just and also learning that when people have always said, don't just go to your local branch, because if you can't get approved there, then you're going to just shop around. So I kind of learned that, every bank's different, and there's so many different scenarios that you can get, and different types of incomes and properties, and how they want to buy it, if they're buying in a trust. I learned just a whole new world of buying property, and how some people buy multiple properties all the time. And then also, first home buyers, that it is such a emotional experience as well, that and we're there to kind of help them along the way. So it really opened up that it's not just these are actual people at the end of the day trying to get their house, like their family home, not just a client's name, and it's just like a tick box and it's on to the next. So it was good.
And that speaks volumes now while you're in the space, and you speak with a lot of passion in that point. And I love
Yeah.
that because it shows, you're in probably the right industry. It's like you learnt a lot of foundations that probably helped you to be a better broker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that you're here, it's like, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I should have been here for ages.
Yeah. Yeah. Should have done it earlier. Yeah.
And I guess, when you look at what's one thing that buyers often misunderstand about finance process, because they only ever see it from their side of the table, which is, I want to buy a house, whether that's investing or owner occupier. But what do you think they misunderstand about that pre-approval once they either get it or don't get it?
A few things that kind of like what I was saying before, that it's like sometimes it can be just really straightforward, and other times like it's not a matter of like, a lot of people think, oh, I've got this massive deposit.
Yeah.
Why can't I buy $1 million property, but I only work like 1 day a week? I'm like, that's awesome, but it doesn't work like that. So like, are people realize, and you could have a really good income, but there's so many different moving factors. Like it's your income, it's your expenses. They look at even your spending habits and the type of customer you are. Like, they look at everything. And so I think a lot of people don't realize that, you could have a really good income or heaps of money, but that's not all that matters. Like, it matters about, do you pay your debts on time? Paying your rent on time? Are you taking all your money out, like withdrawing it? And then there is so many different lenders and they're all totally different. So I think, it like people think it's really complex or really easy, and it really depends on that individual client. No client's really the same, to be honest.
No, I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
That like even in the advocacy side or real estate, like when I've worked in it, no, everyone's different, and
Yeah.
it's so nuanced. It's like, oh, okay, I've not met one client that is doing exactly the same thing in the same situation as one or the other.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good misinterpretation that they have too, is the income. Like, I have a big deposit and I have good income, but then your spending habits are shit and you have bad debt, or you like to gamble and now that's all over your transactions, that sports bets on every weekend.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like, I think that's what trips up a lot of people. Even like Afterpays and Zip Pays is a big one, I think.
Yeah, and your spending habits, and even people think, oh, I make $200,000, but I only started my job yesterday. Like, there's different things like that as well. And even self-employed, like, you could be making hundreds of thousands of dollars. But like most of the time, self-employed, you got to wait 2 years. Obviously, there's other situations, but like there's a lot of moving parts to it, and how much deposit and different securities, and like sometimes not all lenders will take the postcode the same way. So it's also looking for that as well. So I think a lot of people just think I've got the approval and I can buy whatever I want now. Like, there is different moving parts as well.
Yeah, and it's well answered, with that, I think, because the moving parts is the worst.
Yeah.
Worst thing about it. It's too variable. And I want to go into your buying experience because, part of your story that stood out to me was when you shared exactly like, I've just gone through this and it's opened up your whole perspective on the buyer side. I guess if you're open to sharing it, can you talk us through your own recent buying journey and what that process was actually like for you?
Yeah, it was exhausting, like lots of tears, happy tears and sad tears, and just overwhelming. So I had, like, for me, I've purchased properties before. I've had investment properties and I've brought and sell, but I've never brought a property to live in. So my partner and I purchased our first home, and it took me like a few weeks, and he's like everything you're saying makes no sense to me. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that like you actually don't know what's happening because you're not a broker. I'm like, I should probably explain what stamp duty is and all this stuff. So I really had to like strip it back and realize that, I do it every day, but most people don't.
Yeah.
So it made me realize, I've really got to strip it back. And, we sat down and I said, this is what an LVR is, and this is what lender's mortgage insurance is, and how you pay stamp duty. And when you get the approval, this is what happens, and what a cooling off is. And then when we explained that, then it was like both of us were like, all right, so what do we offer for this property? How much do we offer? Is the range like, should we go the high range, lower? It's just was so overwhelming. And like, we love a property and we're like, okay, we would pay this, but like it's on the market for 1.2, but we would probably want to spend $1 million. So it was just, it was very overwhelming. And like, you love a property and you think, you put offers in and then, but, it ends up going for way more than what you can afford. And then you
Yeah.
kind of, I really learned that I need to, I guess, sympathize with people more and really just strip it back and trying to, for now, I'm kind of like helping people be like, oh, I found this property in your price range. What's your thoughts on this? Like, do you want me to get some agents to help you? Or, so I kind of, learned that there's a lot involved and it's scary. Like, it's still kind of nerve wracking now. We've been in the house for only like 2 weeks now and
Oh
it's
my
still
God.
like, and then it's also like, well, our first mortgage repayment doesn't come out till a month after as well. So we've just had the first mortgage repayment. I'm like, this is real now as well.
It's so interesting. Thank you for sharing it and
Yeah.
being so open, because I think, like you said, a great example was what you were talking about with your partner is when you're in property, it seems so natural. And when you talk to other professionals every day, like that are in the industry, it's so easy to just have that back and forth. And then when you get someone who's totally green to it, like my partner and I were very similar, I just said, look, I will handle like the conveyancing side, but I actually pumped off the finance to her.
Yeah.
And I explained it. And I remember she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, okay, hang on. Let me,
What does this mean? Yeah.
let me just explain it, and stripping it back. And then you realize this is not well known.
Yeah.
This is actually super like not known at all.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to me. And it's good that it's kind of like given you that extra set level of service now in your business that you probably didn't realize needed to be there at any point. And, what surprised you most once like you were the buyer, not the one guiding someone else through it?
Just how like scary it is. And you kind of realize, like, even to this day, I'm still having to remind myself that like your first home isn't going to be this perfect home that you don't have to do anything. Like, some people it isn't, lucky them. It's just like, I think I had to kind of remember and remind myself that it's not going to be a perfect home. And as long as you were kind of happy in the area, we like the house, we can eventually make it our own. And I think that was the hardest part as well, because we'd see these houses and we love them, but they would have so much work that needs to be done, all way out of our price range. So I think I learned that no house is ever going to be perfect. You kind of just make it your own and, spend what's within your budget and, pick an area that you like, the type of house you like, and then eventually over the years, you slowly make it your own. And I mean, I'm still reminding myself that today that, we still need more painting to do, that it's going to take time and I can't expect to have a perfect house, your first home. I think that was kind of, a big wake up call that, it's never going to be perfect and that's okay. Like,
I think this is one thing I've say a lot. I hate the term first home buyer. I call it a starter home because it takes the pressure off. When you say first home, there's this pressure to have like this fantasy, like perfect, ideal property. You want to be proud of it. And then the idea of getting something that's just a starter is like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. It's like, that sounds shit. But in reality, it could unlock and open more doors in the future. And I think that's where a lot of people get bogged down with the pressure of having to buy that perfect home. And then when you can't, you feel like you haven't bought the right thing, or you haven't achieved what you set out to do.
Yeah.
And it's so not true.
Yeah. And I feel like it is a big wake up call. But like, I mean, buying a home regardless is an amazing effort.
Yep.
So it doesn't have to be perfect. And like, we love our house, and like, we know that in 5 years' time, we probably may have to buy a bigger home or, make changes, but we're happy now and we're in the door and, to buy the next home, house is going to help us, like, probably already grown in value as well, but we love it here and like, we love the area, and that's all that really matters, really.
That's awesome. And I'm glad that you feel that way after like the buying process. Because some people go the opposite, and I feel so hurt by it for them, because I'm like, no, like, it's a great thing. You got in,
Exactly.
Make it what you need it to, like, you'll make it into what you love, even if you can't do that from day one of settlement, don't stress, it'll get there. And I guess with owner occupiers, buyers in particular, especially emotion and the pressure that they have, like the fear of getting it wrong, like, what did it kind of teach you about that stuff?
It's just like, really, you got to lean on the professionals that you know. So I was lucky that where we were buying, I knew a lot of real estate agents, so I could kind of get their advice or ask about properties coming up or ask some agents at work that I knew, you know, I'm wanting to make this offer. What should I write? Or like, is there
Mm.
any things I should do? Should I say 10-day cooling off? So it's just a lot of like, yeah, lean on the professionals, like use your broker, ask them for advice, like use your conveyancer, get advice about the contract, what you should say. And like the real estate agent as well, they're there as well, ask for their advice. They know what they're doing. And yeah, I think it's just lean on the professionals, but really as well go in with a plan and know what, your max budget is and how much you want to spend, the type of home you want. So you're not just kind of buying whatever just to get it over and done with because you're sick of spending every weekend at an open home. It's just, yeah, be there with a clear kind of budget plan and yeah, take your time and lean on the professionals. That's what they're there for, really.
I think that's a really good tip because I always say, like, you're only as secure as the team around you
Yeah.
and use them because they do this more than once. You're not
Exactly,
their
yeah.
only client, like, unless you happen to get someone on their first day on the
Yeah.
job. So
Yeah.
typically you're using this person who's done this minimum 30 times. And
Exactly.
it's probably in a 6-month period or less. So,
Yeah.
and I guess, one of the things I wanted to ask is, like, what have you has there been anything that's kind of changed for you in your business and how you support clients? Like, I know you mentioned like now you're kind of more understanding, but is there anything that has actually changed that you've done totally different that you weren't doing before?
I think really just reminding myself that like some people honestly have no idea, and that's most of the people. So really just explaining the basics. Just you think, oh, they probably don't care or they already know this, but a lot of the time they don't. Like explain to them what an LVR is or how much money you need to put in, and you're not just paying the deposit. You've got to pay fees and things like that. So really just over explaining and kind of holding their hand as much as I can and explaining, but also using the connections I've got in the local area, like get them in front of real estate agents that, are selling properties in their area or the type of home and connecting them or referring them to a conveyancer that I know is going to help them and kind of just use my connections and my experience as well. And for properties that I know, sending them some properties, doing property reports. So really just, I think, over explaining things now and kind of explaining step by step and just, yeah, realizing that not everyone knows the buying process, which
Mm.
most people don't.
No, they don't. No,
Yeah.
they absolutely don't. I love that. And it's
Yeah.
great that you've taken that approach. And, I guess this sets up like our today's topic, right, which is getting approved and actually feeling ready to buy are two very different things,
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the real heart of today's conversation because a lot of buyers think that, I got pre-approval, the hardest part's over. I've done all my bank submissions, like my bank slips, my transactions and all the crap that you need to prepare. And then they realize, oh shit, I haven't found a house. And this is where people sit on market for 9 to 10 months. It's a long time, and that's when compromise needs to happen. Like, what do I buy? What do I have to sacrifice? So it takes us perfectly into our Reddit segment. This is called Reddit Real Talk. It's a fan favorite because they send me Reddit stories or their own stories, and they want me to unpack them with a guest on the show. And today you're in the hot seat. So,
Awesome.
So this Reddit post came from a first home buyer in Sydney. And I thought it was such a good example of what people are actually quietly feeling. So I'm going to read out the story and then I'm going to ask you some questions. You ready to have a crack?
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
Let's do it. So this person writes, looking to buy my first home in Sydney, apartment and only a few weeks in and the stress is insane. With my budget, I can buy what I want, but pickings are slim as the majority go for above what I can spend. I'm finding I'm now trying to convince myself that I like some properties I've seen more than I actually do, just to take a leap and put in an offer because of that fear that if I don't snap one up, then I'll just be priced out. This is such a real one.
Yeah.
What's your immediate reaction when you hear that?
Yeah, like I definitely feel them like and understand that. Yeah, because you think like I want this house and I'm going to get it, but then you don't, and you're like, oh,
Now what?
well, I've just planned what color paint I was going to put in this house. Like, it definitely gets easier, but it's just a matter of like we said, it's not going to be perfect, and you which is hard, but yeah, you kind of make it your own and it becomes perfect for you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that initial sting hurts. But
Yeah.
then sadly in this market, you're probably going to go through it a few times and you start to kind of build a resilience, I
That's
think.
right. Yeah.
And like when buyers start talking of like themselves into, because what this person wrote in here is talking themselves into properties that maybe they don't like and
Yeah.
going, no, it could be all right, more than they actually do. What do you think is really going on at that point for them?
I think they're probably just over it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just like, I'm over it. Like, as long as I've got a house or an apartment, who cares? And like, sometimes it kind of it can be like that, but other times it's just like, don't give up. Like, some people, it takes months and it can be nothing that you're doing wrong. It's just the market and where you're buying. Others find a house within 2 weeks. It's just a matter of, yeah, not just settling for anything. You still want to be happy, but then you also need to understand that it's probably not going to be perfect. Like, there's probably little things that you may want to change, and most of the time you probably can change it about it.
Yeah.
As long as you kind of like the area and kind of like the house, you can change little things, like you can change the kitchen or the paint
Yeah.
and things like that. And yeah,
And it'll work out. It's like
exactly.
the compromise, because I feel like people focus a lot on the 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't meet all 10 requirements, it's shit.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
that's
like,
right.
what are you compromising on though?
Yeah.
So, and that makes a big part of like, okay, if it ticks like 7 boxes, it's probably good.
That's right. Yeah. And like, it's good to have like and know what you want, because you can still get what you want. But yeah, like you said, it's probably not going to be 10 out of 10 everything you want. And that's okay. Like, maybe eventually you can get that. But when it's your first one, yeah, you're probably going to miss out on a few things, and that's okay. But it'll probably help you get to that 10 out of 10 one in a
Yep.
few years' time.
And I think that goes back to that pressure of that first home versus a starter home. It's
Exactly.
like you get a starter home, it takes that pressure off going, oh, yeah, okay, so I can compromise on like this. Like, yeah, because it's your first foundational kind of home. And then
Exactly.
as your family grows, and because things change, like in life, you know, you
That's
might
right.
buy the house now planning to have kids, but then if life has a different plan for you, then you got this massive house. Did you need that massive house when now that's not the plan?
That's right. Yeah.
So it makes a difference. And I guess how can someone, you know, in your opinion, tell the difference between, you know, healthy compromise and then, you know, I guess settling for the wrong property just because they're stressed, tired, or scared of missing out?
I think, like, it may sound silly, but I feel like you just know, like, you just have the feeling. And I think when we were looking at properties, like, I could tell when it was something that I genuinely really wanted, and compared to being like, we may get it, it's in our price range, let's just hope for the best. And I'm kind of hope we don't get it. Because I think you kind of like, yeah, you kind of know, and you can kind of, like, it's exciting when you find the property that you really like and you actually genuinely want it. It's exciting. And I think, yeah, you've got to kind of realize, do I genuinely want this property, or am I just spending all this money just so I can have a house and be done with it?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I
You
feel
know.
like you just kind of know.
Did you have properties where you offered on and you had that feeling of, I hope we don't get it?
Yeah, there was one or two that we're going to put offers on, and I'm like thinking I'm kind of just probably putting an offer on because, like, it will be a cool house, but I don't really want to live in this suburb, but I'm just doing it because
You want to get in?
hope for the best. And yeah, and then I'm like, if we don't get it, I don't really care, to be honest. Like, but yeah, I think you kind of just have a feeling, and we ended up getting the one we wanted the same day, so we didn't even put the other offers on. But I think you can kind of just, the feeling you can tell, and you can kind of like envision yourself in that house or not.
That's a big one. I think the gut feel.
Yeah.
It's intuition, in my opinion.
It is, yeah.
And I get that too. Like when I was shopping around, like I looked at the area, I'm like, no. Like I had, like just to digress, but like my partner and I had this, when we were trying to pick a house to buy, we were like deciding whether it was established or we built.
Yeah.
And there was this property inspection that I said we should go to because I had a block of land that would fit a very shit house on it, but it was a good starter home option. I already had the block and we earned some equity on it. And I said to her, oh, we could buy this, but and she goes, I can't picture what kind of house would need to be there. So then I showed her an example. She goes, I feel depressed. I said, all right, we won't do it.
That's not it.
It's not it. So if that's the reaction you're getting from the offers you're making on properties, probably not. You don't want that offer to go through.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you do get so exhausted from the search.
Yeah.
And you do end up just going, screw it. Here you go. If it happens, all right, great. I'll just deal with it.
Yeah.
So I think it perfectly brings me to a point of like what buyers really need after pre-approval, right? This is a big thing because this is where the conversation gets interesting on a few fronts. Because pre-approval, I guess, for people, it gives them confidence, but it can also create that false sense that now they're fully ready and it's like turn the jets on, like engine starts, let's go. When really they might be still missing the strategy, the clarity or the support that they need to actually do it. So beyond borrowing capacity, what actually makes someone a strong and genuinely prepared buyer in this market from the broker's perspective?
I think, knowing what you actually want to buy and like also how much you actually want to spend. So yeah, you can get your pre-approval. And a lot of the time we do the pre-approval at the max and based on your borrowing capacity, but also your savings. But a lot of the time people don't want to spend their max. So it's understanding as well how much you actually want to spend. So you may be pre-approved for say 1.1, but you're only comfortable at spending 900,000 because you've still got to pay the mortgage and all the expenses. And yeah, you can afford it, but can you still live how you want to live? So I think it's been having a clear kind of plan that this is how much we actually want to spend and this is what we're comfortable with and what type of property we want to buy, where we want to buy. So just being confident in your plan because it's very easy to get like emotional and be like, oh, let's just put in an extra 10 grand when really probably didn't really want to do it. You're just doing it because you got emotional with the property.
Yeah.
So I think, having a clear kind of goal and budget and plan and be confident with your decision and don't get kind of caught up in the emotionals, especially say if you're going to an auction and you're like, let me just put an extra 5 grand. You're like, oh, probably shouldn't have done that. So it's just, going with a clear budget and plan and be confident in what your decision is and, be ready.
I think it's solid advice because how many times have you had your buyers, the auction scenario I feel like is a killer for a lot of buyers. It's where they stretch budget almost immediately because there's no thinking time. It's live and it's that pressure of, I'll go 10 grand more. How many times have you had that conversation with your buyers of you cannot go over this amount?
Yeah, quite a few. And I'm getting a message on a Saturday be like, oh, they've offered this amount and it's like 50K over their approval. Can I do it? I'm like, well, no, unless you've got the extra 50,000, like you can't afford it and we can't get the approval.
Oh, shit.
So it's really like, or them just be needing the reassurance because it's way over their pre-approval. I'm like, can I put an offer? I'm like, yes, we're okay under your budget. So I think, and like recently I went to a auction with my mother-in-law and this was her first home and we were at an auction and even I was kind of she had a clear budget and she was very stern on her budget and which I really liked. But even in the moment, I'm like, come on, let's just go a bit higher. Like you kind of think, let's just do it a bit higher. But it's, and it made me realize that, it really is important to have like a clear budget and know what you're happy to spend because at the end of the day, you're the one paying for the mortgage and you're paying for all the expenses as well. So you want to be comfortable. Like, you can afford it on paper, but can you still live how you want to live and enjoy the house and little things as well?
I think that's the hard part too is there's so much focus on the getting of the property that the reality of maintaining and the lifestyle you're going to have with that house, it's like people put a lot of stock in. My first home has to be beautiful. So they spend all their money on this really nice property, which is great. And, I know that they'll love it.
Yeah.
But then their budget takes a big hit and their lifestyle takes a big hit after they move in because they can't have that lifestyle that they once had of like,
that's right.
I can't go out for dinner. No, I can't go shopping once a week. I can go get massages and facials. Okay, cool. So now my lifestyle is ramen noodles.
Yeah, literally.
Great.
Don't leave the house. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're living in a nice house that you can't afford to enjoy.
That's right.
And that sucks. Like you don't want to be in that position. And I think that auction scenario is where that happens a lot.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I felt it as well. And it wasn't even me, but I was like, oh, like I can make the numbers work, but like, yeah, you got to have, just be a clear budget. And even when we were buying, a lot of the times I was like, oh, like I know we can get the money and we can do it more, but then I'm like, actually, no. When I did the numbers, I was like, well, no, if I don't want to spend all this money because then we're going to be limited with what we have left and
Yeah.
we can't go on a holiday anymore. So it's just, I was kind of then had to be strict to myself and be like, well, no, like we don't have to get this perfect house. I'd rather enjoy my life and have my house and still go on a holiday if I want to, or go out for dinner if we want to as well.
I have to ask, was it easy? Like, because you're a broker, were you able to broker your own deal?
So I did all the numbers, and I did everything to kind of make it work, but I didn't submit my own. To some lenders you can, but I had another broker do it. But even then, it was kind of like hard because I'm like, well, when's the approval coming? Like, and I'm like, I feel like I'm annoying them. I'm like, is there any updates yet? And I'm like, yeah, I probably should be giving more
Yeah.
updates myself because I'm like, it's so nerve wracking because you're just waiting for this piece of paper. So that was hard because I kind of had to like let go of the control and let someone
Yeah.
else deal with it. I know the numbers work. I've done it like 3 times just today, but like I know it works and I'll get the approval, but it's like, it's in someone else's hand. And I realized as well that I probably should give obviously give updates for the clients, but like, we'll probably get it 1 or 2 days. It's still working. Like we'll get the approval. Don't worry. And you forget how like nerve wracking it is just waiting for that email to say you've got the approval. Really.
I think that's awesome, like that you're able to though reflect and adapt,
Yeah.
all those learnings that you had being in the hot seat. Because, I always imagined it's like when I'll never forget as a real estate agent, we were able to, like we couldn't buy our own properties, like and sign contracts. Like if there was a listing that we had that I put up and I'm like, no, stuff it, I'll buy the house.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't
Yeah.
broker that deal. You have to give it to someone else in the office. And I was selling to another real estate agent at that point. And I remember he just checked everything and he's like, yeah, but no, put that there. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll just do it the way you want me to do it. I'm basically, I'm pen pushing right now. So I'm like, yeah, just, okay, what do you
Pretty
want?
much.
But it is hard not having that control in the situation. But I love that you've adapted it to your processes.
Yeah.
That's really cool, And I guess what's the biggest, mistake people make in your opinion after they get that pre-approval and start searching?
I think just not really doing research, just putting offers on everything and just hoping for the best, or not putting offers on because they're like, oh, it's only just come on the market, or I'll just do the lowest, or they said they've had a few offers, I'll wait. And I think people kind of wait sometimes a bit too long, that they don't understand that it is a very competitive because everyone else, these people you're up against, they've probably been waiting for months as well. So I think kind of if you're happy with the property, put an offer on straight away, like
What's
speak to
stopping
the
you?
agent and put your offer on, get a feel. And I think just kind of holding out or not even thinking and just putting offers on. Like, actually, I don't even want this house. I'm just doing it because I feel like I have to. Yeah.
So it's that, and it's interesting that you say move, like don't let the fear take over. Because I think a lot of people just sit there and get their pre-approval and do one or two things. Either they're gung-ho, hard search on the market every Saturday, trying to buy it all out, or they're the opposite and they make excuses on not to buy. And like, oh no, but that one, it's too early to buy.
Exactly.
And that always gets me.
Out.
I'm like, what do you mean? If it's a good house, like it's not too early.
What are you waiting for?
Don't wait. If it's good and you can make an offer, go for it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, so it's so interesting. And I guess for someone in Sydney right now who feels like they're either, going to overpay or they're going to settle for something that they don't really want, what would you want them to hear right now?
God, there's something out there. It's just and it is hard and you're not alone and everyone's kind of feeling the same. And you will probably find something and you just got to, keep looking, use the people around you, use the experts and kind of, you'll find something. And sometimes it's also kind of buy now, because if you wait another year or two, you may not even be able to buy what you want or be able to even get into the market. So take your time, but not too much time.
So take time, but don't take it all.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
then you get priced out. So
That's
it's like
right.
what you get pre-approved for, today, and then you buy 6 months later, that's another pre-approval process that you have to go through again.
Exactly. And then with rates changing constantly, like you could have afforded 3 months ago something, but now you waited too long and you can't actually afford it now either.
Which is shit.
It is. It's unfair, yeah.
It's unfair to those buyers like that. Their intention's always good, and it's like they're not out there just to buy for the sake of it. It's usually because of a life milestone or a situation. And then they get priced out, and then it's like the giving up or it drags out. And it's like it doesn't have to be that way. You just got to make some decisions.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that decision paralysis is the worst.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. You kind of have to know. I want to do one thing before we wrap up. I can't believe how fast the time's
that
gone.
went really fast.
Like, I feel like I'm only just scraping the surface. But I want to do a quick rapid fire round with you. So before we wrap, I want to ask you just your first instinct, no overthinking. They're just quick questions. And I just want your answer either way. All right? Yep. So, falling in love with listing photos too early, red flag or normal?
Normal.
Waiting for the perfect property, smart or dangerous?
Dangerous, yeah.
Stretching your budget for the right property, sometimes worth it or usually a bad move?
Oh, I'm going to say sometimes worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Buying something that is 80% right, realistic or risky?
Realistic.
Yep. And first home buyers overthink too much. Is that a fair or unfair statement?
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, biggest thing buyers focus on too much?
What the house looks like. Yeah,
physical.
Physical, yeah.
Biggest thing that they don't focus enough on?
Like things you can change on the property, like how you can make it your own and make it to how you want it to look like.
I like that answer. And one word to describe the Sydney market right now?
Crazy.
Oh, Ashley, this has been such a fun and valuable chat. I think it's just been really down to earth. And for those buyers that are really feeling this market at the moment, which is so crazy and up and down and everything's going off at once. I feel like I'm in a car where all the indication lights have gone off. It's like, oh, you got to check your oil, your water.
Literally, yeah, I still feel like that.
Yeah, it's like all systems go. Like I feel like this conversation that they're going to hear today will really reassure them, is what I'm hoping, and give them a sense of guidance that working with the right broker can give you those stepping stones and that guidance and the right professional team at the end of the day.
I agree.
Because one final question to you before we wrap is, if someone's listening right now who is approved, or pre-approved, actively searching and already feeling tired by the whole process, what's your final piece of advice to them?
Just keep going and, use your experts and the local experts. They're there to help, so use them.
Use them, don't give up.
Yeah. They're probably in the same boat as you, to be honest.
That's actually a good point. Yeah. They probably most likely are. And they're dealing with a lot of people in the same boat too. So they kind of know how to navigate. And we have to return to our no BS statement that we read out at the start of the show. And we're going to determine now whether it was bullshit or not. And the statement was, as a reminder, once you're pre-approved, you're basically ready to buy. Do you think that's bullshit or not bullshit?
Bullshit.
Okay. What makes you say that?
You've got the pre-approval, but there's still so much involved, and you kind of got to know what you actually want to buy and where you want to buy, and do you have your solicitor ready, and do you even know what you want to buy? Sometimes they get approved, and they're like, okay, what do I even want? Am I just getting the pre-approval for the sake of it? Or, so I think, people, there's still more to it than just getting finance, and you need to be ready in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, solid advice and so true. Yeah. Ashley, thank you so much for being here today. I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope it was fun for you too.
It was, yes. Thank you so much.
Of course. And for our listeners out there, thank you always for tuning in. Today, biggest takeaway is getting pre-approved is important, but it's not the whole game. So the lesson is simple. Don't just ask, can I buy? Ask, am I actually ready to buy as well? I think that's a big takeaway for today. But Ashley, it's been great having you coming on the show, sharing your perspective. And for anyone that wants to connect with Ashley, we've got her details on screen and in our show notes below. And as always, if you got value from today's episode, please share it, subscribe, share it with a mate who's probably stuck in that analysis paralysis. They might need a chat with Ashley.
Yeah.
She's going to sympathise with you. But thank you everyone for tuning in. And this has been the No BS Real Estate Podcast. We'll catch you next time. Bye for now. That's a wrap for this episode of the No BS Real Estate Podcast, powered by Abodi AI. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it. If you're looking for more guidance on your home buying journey, you can visit www.abodi.com.au for expert advice, property insights, and the tools you need to find the right home with confidence. If you're already on your journey, you can also download our app. Just search Abodi AI on the App Store or Google Play. Have any questions or want to connect, you can follow us on Instagram at abodi.com.au or send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.